Yo, what's going on everybody? It's your boy Lodi here, back with another Black Clover mobile video. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about which you need to be prioritizing in Black Clover Mobile Global as a free-to-play or a pay-to-win player. With that being said, let's get into the video. First things first, I have been playing for almost about 2 weeks now. I think today is day 10. And we have about 8 LRs, about 9. Haven't gotten Charlotte to LR yet, but she has met the requirements for it. So let's say you're starting the game off and day 1, what you want to be doing the most, and I see a lot of people asking, how do you already have so many LRs on day 2? How do you already get all of these good characters and all these high damage numbers? And it's actually a lot simpler than you think, and that's because first of all, what you really want to focus on when you get into the game are these two things. Is, let's say, for example, my Leopold. Let's say I get Leopold when I first start the game. You'll also get a free Charlotte when you start the game on your first 10 pull. So Charlotte, and let's say you want to level up Charlotte. What you're going to want to do is, as soon as you get this character and as soon as you get done with all of your story stuff, you're going to want to prioritize leveling and affinity grinding. Both of these go hand in hand, so it's extremely important that you are using both of these features. Because if you are not max leveling, then you cannot go up to the next rarity. But if you are not affinity grinding, then it takes a lot longer to hit the LR, which is the strongest that your characters can get. Right alongside that, if you want to efficiently conserve resources, make sure that when you are doing your XP challenges, that you're not leveling up a lot of mages, because if you are leveling up everyone, then that is a lot less XP and a lot more grinding and time you have to put into using XP when you could be using your stamina to start affinity grinding or to slightly start going for your skill grinds. So when you first get into the game, make sure that you find the first 4 units that you want to use. They don't have to be the best. If you care about tier list, then the tier for every character is down in the description below on BCM database. But when you first get in, make sure that you're finding 4 characters you want to use and that you want to prioritize. For example, my first 4 characters that I prioritized in leveling and affinity grinding were Fauna, Raya, Licht, and Fenrol, because these 3 together were extremely good, and all alongside Lotus, because he is the best character you can get from reroll. If you haven't gotten Lotus from your reroll, make sure you do it. Right alongside that, after you start leveling up, make sure that you're always leveling to max for anyone that's below. Once you first get an SSR, their cap is level 60. To go ahead and level up them to the next rank, you have to do their gear, which is this. And for SSRs, you need mage pieces. And for SRs, you also need your SR mage pieces. But here's the good thing about leveling up and promoting SSRs. You only have to do it once to get the entirety thing. Once you max out an SSR's Clover, you do not have to do it again, whereas with SR, you do have to do it twice. Alongside that, once you get your first 4 main characters, and you've completed as far as you can currently in story, make sure that you are doing Evergreen Forest, which is the EXP grinding that we were talking about, and make sure that you go up to the highest that you can. Don't worry about going up to the highest, or like 15. Even I cannot complete 15 right now, so I casually grind 11 or 12 currently. But when I was first starting, you know, even if you can just get to about 10, that's perfectly fine, because you're getting UR XP also. Right alongside that, if you are doing affinity grinding, make sure that you go to your patrol stages and that you are using food for your things. Right here, as you can see, we get 50 patrol. So if by doing the nightmare you get more affinity for your characters, alongside just getting more affinity for your characters by doing the harder patrol stages, I'm going to show you guys a little thing that you should be doing for everything in this game. Come over here, talk to Charmy, and cook. So a lot of people aren't aware of this, and this is what helps people to progress a lot faster than others, is there's food that you can consume to get your bond or your XP higher. So if you want to get XP, grinding, get these type of foods. And if you would like to affinity grind, make sure you're getting these type of foods. There's also money food, there's gear food that we'll talk about a little bit later into the video about, and there's also higher rarity foods. Now, right alongside that, let's say that, okay, you've max leveled your character, you've promoted them to UR or LR. What do you do from there? Next thing that you want to prioritize is leveling your character's skills, which is basically their talents. If you are a gacha player, then you'll understand what I mean. Make sure that, because in this game, it does not give you a whole lot of resources to level up skills, whereas you can grind the skill materials needed in a lot of other games. In this game, it's extremely hard to really get these because it's a very grindy thing to be able to get all of these. So make sure that you are leveling your skills as efficiently and conserving as much of these as you can while being able to put out the most damage you can. So for example, with Licht, he's going to be an interesting one. With Licht, you want to prioritize his united attack if you have Raya, but if you do not have Raya, make sure you are prioritizing his ult, his whip. Now, basic attack is one that you can leave out last, but Licht is one of those ones where you're going to go ult, whip, and then basic. Now, for example, someone like Fenrir, who's going to be one of your biggest supporters, you're only going to focus on leveling up his ult and his skill 2 for the increased damage, but alongside his ult for the debuff and mobility. Same alongside William, you're going to mainly only level up his skill 2 because it's going to give you that increased mobility, which is going to allow you guys to move faster and get what you need done. And for example, for a healer, you're going to be using Mimosa's ult the most for her resurrection and her skill 2nd. Right alongside that, once you've gotten your skills on your first 4 main characters that you feel pretty good about, here's another thing that you should be prioritizing for items and materials. And this is arena grinding. Now, I'm currently within the top 500 and I should be going up to the higher rank in a few days. But right alongside that, when you are going higher up in arena, you get more rewards, you get more gems, which are going to allow you to pull. But this is what you really want to be pushing for, and it's the top 500 in the game. Because once you get into the top 500, you are weekly getting gear, materials, and skill materials that are needed to level up your characters even more. So if you are not pushing into the 500, it's a lot harder to get the materials that you need to efficiently progress your characters to the max level in the shortest amount of time possible without spending money. Now, another thing is that obviously, maybe your luck's not doing too well, right? Maybe you're not getting a lot of dupes for your characters. Maybe potentially you aren't getting, the dupes that you need. Here's something that's going to help you a lot. First off, we're going to go to World 1 because obviously everyone will have this one unlocked. One of the most important things that you need to be focusing on once you get all your characters done and stuff is your world reputation. It's going to give you a lot of items that you need to actually go ahead and do it. So you get gems here, you get some skill books, but what you want to try and push for over time as you're playing this game is try to push for Rep 4 on every world, because it gives you an SSR Mage Piece chest, which is going to allow you to get any dupe for any of the characters here. And there are currently 5 worlds, meaning that you can max dupe any one of the default characters by just getting everyone to Rep 4, which as a free-to-play player, that's going to be extremely important to you if you don't have the money or you don't have the gems to constantly keep pulling for dupes, or maybe you're just getting bad luck. Right alongside that duping, another thing that you should be focusing on is your limited challenges, because this is another way to get your skill upgrade materials without doing PvP. It's a little bit mediocre, but you are still getting your rewards here and there as you're doing it. Make sure you're doing every single limited one every day, because eventually these rotate off. As you can see, this one says 24 days, and in these 2 days, these ones will rotate off. These gear upgrade materials you're going to need in the future when we start talking about gear grinding and gear farming and gear leveling. So make sure that you're doing all of these daily, because once you reach that point, you will eventually need these materials, and they're going to be a lot harder to get as the game progresses on. Another thing that I'd like to preach about before is If you are not LR with your main characters or have some of their skills level up, do not worry about gear grinding. I cannot stress this enough on the Canadian version of the game right now. Unless you are a player that's spending tons of money getting every single pack daily, getting high level gear is going to be a big challenge. As you can see, I've been grinding gear for about 4 days and I only have 4 LR pieces. The reason for that is because the rates for getting LR are a lot lower right now than they used to be. So trying to efficiently grind and like max out your LR pieces are going to be a lot more resourceful and time consuming. So don't worry about grinding for LRs right now. At the very most, if you want to worry about some of your gear, then you'll get a lot of gear just by playing the game. It doesn't matter as long as you have as long as you're doing everything that we talked about, which is guaranteed damage upgrades. Your skills, that's going to give you guaranteed damage. You upgrading and rating up the character is going to give you a lot more guaranteed damage compared to, you know, gear, which is all RNG based. Now, I'm not going to hold you. Black Clover Mobile has a very good system in place, so it's not as RNG based. It actually feels pretty friendly grinding gear. But until you have your characters fully leveled and prioritized up and their skills, do not grind gear until then, because the story mode of the game and as you progress over time give you gear, which is going to help you well more than enough to get past what you need to get past. Let's say that you are at that point now where you start grinding gear, and let's say that you want to start grinding, you want to start leveling. This is going to be pretty easy. I will have a video down below of a homie, aka Blade, that talks about gear grinding, but I will soon also be dropping a video about gear within the next week. So do not worry about that. But for a simple logistic down, any gear piece that you want to look at your character's highest stat. So for example, Licht, he likes magic attack more, as you can see. Even if we remove this 10k, his magic attack is still about 6k over his normal attack, which means that Licht just likes to have magic attack for his damage. Compared to, for example, Raya, where he just likes to have normal attack for his damage. And same plays into healers' roles. Healers like a lot of magic attack for healing, and defenders like a lot of defense for tanking. Right alongside that, another stat that's important is speed, obviously, for, you know, William or Balthos. They're both extremely fast characters, and you want to try and get them to the plate as fast as you can. Right alongside guaranteed upgrades, another thing that you guys should be worrying about, but not until a little bit later into the game, I'd say maybe about a week into the game if you're free to play, is your talents. Now, as you can see, I'm not even close to fully getting talents done right now because I have just recently started to prioritize these. But talents are going to give you guaranteed upgrade stats, which are going to help you do a lot more damage. They're going to help you defend a lot more, and they're also going to help you support a lot more depending on which ones you want to do. Alongside that, when you fully get a thing, you will be able to engrave a stone slot, which is going to help you out. Now, with that being said, I can't stress this enough. Some people always try to spend money. Don't let that discourage you. This game is extremely friendly when it comes to being free to play. I was free to play for the first week before I spent my first $20 on the game just for a singular pack. I was getting lucky. You know, if you're getting dupes of characters that don't matter, you can get the gift boxes, which are going to allow you to up your affinity even more. Make sure that you are getting these shared gift boxes so that you can give them to every character. But that's another quick way to get your LR. But with that being said, guys, I would like to point out that this is my own personal opinion on how you should be progressing and what you should be prioritizing. Make sure that I'd like to make sure that you guys are not spending time doing things that don't matter or things that will halt your progress in the game. As I said, this is my own personal opinion, and you should play the game however you want to, enjoy it however you want to. As long as you're having fun, that's all we care about at the end of the day. So with that being said, I hope y'all enjoyed the guide, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace, everyone.